Sheila Hancock, actor and wife of the late John Thaw, lives close to the River Thames in Hammersmith, West London.
And ta-da!
Sheila spends a lot of time with her daughters and grandchildren,
You're right.
but knows little about the past generations of her family.
Now I'm getting older. I'm in my granny's position. I'm granny. And I'm me, and I've got all sorts of things happening in my mind and my life, and I've been through all sorts of things, and so had my grannies. And there are questions that if they were here now, I would like to have asked them.
Now, here's a picture.
Further back, she'd like to identify a mysterious woman in a portrait handed down through the family.
Who is that?
Don't know. I know nothing apart from the fact that she was called Madame Zurhorst, and she's a relative.
It looks like you from the nose down, but the eye...
I can see that funny chin. Can you? Yeah, sticky outy chin and funny nose. I'd love to find out about that, but whether, I mean, just a picture and a name is not much of a clue, is it? Really? I don't know my history. Now that I've begun to think about it, I don't like having this dead part of my life that I know nothing about. I'd like to fill in that background, for good or bad. I'd like to have a bit of body to my life. I have a passion for London. I love London with all my heart, and that's where I feel my roots are. I've always thought my roots were working class, very ordinary, not flashy in any way.
Sheila spent her early childhood in King's Cross, London. The first home she remembers is the pub where her father was landlord. Sheila, her sister, parents and grandmother all lived in the flat above the pub.
I used to sit there because children weren't allowed in the bars in those days, and I used to sit there with a fizzy lemonade and a bag of crisps with a little blue thing inside that had the salt in, and I'd sit there, and there used to be a winkle and shrimp man who came along, and we used to buy winkles and shrimps on there. Oh my goodness. Oh. Well, it's still got the same feel. But round here, I'm sure it was round here or in there or maybe in there, where that ornate stuff is now a little kitchen, there was this thing called a ladies' bar. These old ladies used to be in there, you know, having their drink. And I used to sneak in round the back of the bar, and I'd seen Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I used to do the whole of it to these poor women who couldn't complain, of course, because my dad was the landlord, so they had to put up with it. My father's name is Enrico, and here he was called Rick. Have one yourself, Rick. His parents were English, but he was born in Italy. He had a very Italian temperament, laughed a lot, cried at the drop of a hat.
When Sheila was 5, the family moved away from the pub to a house in Bexley Heath on the outskirts of London.
I was desperately sad when I first got here. It seemed so dull. After living in pubs and in London and everything like this, it was very quiet then. I mean, there were no cars, and I don't know, it seemed bleak to me as a child.
After the move, Enrico's mother, Grandma Hancock, then widowed, also came to live with them. Sheila was just a child when Enrico's father died. She has no memory of him at all and doesn't even know his Christian name. But she does have vivid memories of her Grandma Hancock, Emma.
That's number 58.
Grandma Hancock shared the front room of the house with Sheila's other grandmother, Grandma Woodward.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, my goodness. This was the room for my two grannies. They lived and slept, I think, in here. which was quite small for them. They used to row like mad. They didn't get on at all well. And they used to play whist. We would be in the other room and everybody would wait, and sure enough, at the end of the evening it was, "You're a cheat! You're a dreadful cheat! You really are! And don't speak to me like that, woman!" And he's awful. I can hear it now, these screaming rows. Oh, they were totally different. I mean, Grandma Woodward was very kind of down to earth and cockney and get on with it. Grandma Hancock was rather grand and a bit mad. I mean, she had begun to lose her marbles by then. And she used to dance outside. There was a lamppost out there that was her partner, and she would do very stately dances around this lamppost. And she wore a thing called a tippet. I don't think people wear those anymore, but it wasn't a fur quite, but it was a little furry animal around her neck. I think Grandma Woodward thought that Grandma Hancock had ideas above her station. I seem to remember there was a wonderful phrase called "fur coat and no drawers," was how she described her. Isn't that awful? That's just come back to me. Fur coat and no drawers, that's her.
Sheila doesn't know anything about her Grandma Hancock's background, whether her airs and graces were real or assumed. To try and find out, she's going to get Grandma Hancock's marriage certificate. This will give Emma's father's occupation. It will also reveal her grandfather Hancock's Christian name.
Right, here we go. George Thomas? How weird. I didn't know his name. They're very good names. Here she is. Emma Easter Croft. Her father was Benjamin Croft, who was a superintendent. And the residence at the time of marriage was the Western Pumping Station. Now, there was a building in Pimlico that I've always thought was associated with the family, that Dad had pointed out or something, by the railway bridge. That could be that.
So Grandma Hancock's father was Benjamin Croft, superintendent of a pumping station.
Right, just under this railway bridge, there's some gates on the right. I don't know whether you can get over there, can you?
Sheila's going to see if the building she remembers is still there.
Yeah, that's the waterboard place.
She's being met at the pumping station by a distant relative, Claire Warner, another descendant of Benjamin Croft.
Well, here we are. This is the house I've seen from the road. It's rather splendid, isn't it? Hello?
Hello, Sheila.
Are you
Hello,
Claire?
I'm Claire? Yes, hi.
Oh, we're related, I hear.
We are. My mother is your second cousin.
Really?
And so we're all related to Benjamin Croft.
Well, that's fantastic.
Here we are
And
at his
this is
house.
where he lived.
I've got some photographs here that have been kept in the family, which show the interior of the house.
Heavens above.
Yeah. So here's the dining room of the pumping station.
Looks like a stage set.
Yeah. And there's the house.
A magnificent drive leading up to it.
This is Benjamin Croft and his wife, Emma.
Well, I never did. They look like a wonderful old couple,
They
don't they?
They do. He was quite an important person. This document shows the number of people that were working for him while he was superintendent here.
So this was all his staff? 19 men.
And this is a photograph of Emma Eastercroft.
Good Lord. So
And
that's my grandmother?
Yes, that's your grandmother.
I wonder, would she have been living here when that was taken, I wonder? Was she a young woman? Yeah. I do recognise that face. Oh, look at her. Hello.
Hello, my name's Mick Hatton. I'm the shift engineer here.
Very pleased to
Pleasure
meet
to
you,
meet you.
Sheila
Yes.
Hancock.
I know,
And this
I know.
is Claire.
Hello, Claire. How do you do? Welcome.
Oh, look at this. Look
Look
at
at this.
this.
How's that?
Shift engineer Mick Hatton is going to show Sheila and Claire around.
I do. It looks
Well-
like a palace. You know, I'm going to be very ignorant here. What is a pumping house?
What is a pumping
I don't know
house?
what it does. What does it do?
Come this way.
I've
Come this
no
way.
idea. Great big tanks, central heating.
If you'd have been standing here, roughly 1875, this would have been a thing called a cathedral. This is where all the ironwork would meet.
But what did it do?
What did
Where
it
was
do?
it pumping them? What was
Right.
it heating things up?
This is sewage.
Sewer.
Yep, sewer. This is a sewage pumping station.
So he worked in a sewage factory.
No, he works in a sewage pumping station.
The pumping station was built in 1873 as part of London's modern sewer system. The catalyst for the new system was the Great Stink, when the stench from the River Thames became so bad that members of Parliament demanded action. In a remarkable feat of engineering, Joseph Bazalgette built 83 miles of sewers to prevent raw sewage from running into the Thames. Each pumping station along the river lifts the sewage so gravity can then pull it through the pipes to the next station. Built to look like palaces, the pumping stations show the Victorian sense of civic pride. As superintendent of the Western pumping station, Benjamin Croft was a senior engineer and a respectable member of the Victorian middle class.
It's genius, isn't it? We should be so grateful to the Victorians for having dreamt this up. It really doesn't smell at all in here. But would it have done in my great-grandfather's day?
In your great-grandfather's day, where I'm going to take you now, would have been raw sewage. Be careful as you go down.
Right. Cool, now it is, I can smell
You
now.
can smell now. Over 100 years ago, this would have been a wet well. The men would have had to come down here, clean the pumps where they've got ragged up,
Good Lord.
cleaned off dead bodies.
Oh, why dead bodies?
Well, it's amazing what you get put in sewers.
Good heavens. But my great-granddad probably didn't have anything to do with that, did he?
No,
Because he was
no,
the superintendent.
Your great-granddad would have told the people what to do,
Quite right, so would I.
you know.
But I have to say I'm quite surprised and intrigued about Grandma Hancock's background. I mean, Benjamin Croft, her father, was obviously a considerable man. I mean, to be the superintendent of this extraordinary place. I mean, it may have been in sewage, but let's face it, that was such an innovation and an incredible feat of engineering. And he was in charge. Here she was living in this rather nice house, and then, you know, she met this guy somehow, George Hancock. I'd love to know what happened to them after that, to find out more about what sort of people they were when they were together. There you go. Thanks a lot.
Emma married George Hancock in 1885. She was 20 years old. George was 25.
Well, I don't know anything about my Grandma Hancock's young married life, except that Grandpa Hancock, I know, worked for Thomas Cook, the travel agency, in Italy, in Milan. I don't know in what capacity. I'd love to find out.
Sheila's going to visit Thomas Cook archivist Paul Smith to see if he can tell her anything about her grandfather's job.
Now, we don't have actual staff files in the archives, but what we do have are a series of agreement books with people who work for Cooks. I'd just like to pop the gloves on. We can have a look.
Right. So look for the index. Oh, look at all this beautiful writing.
Pop it in.
Hancock agent, Milan.
Well,
that sounds promising.
it does, doesn't it?
249.
249.
Okay. Can I do it?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Here we go. Straight. That was weird. And there he is.
Well.
George Thomas Hancock, agent in Milan. So an agent would have been what?
Well, an agent in this context would essentially be the equivalent of a branch manager.
Would this have been a coveted job?
Yes. I mean, if you wanted to work in travel, Thomas Cook was the company to work for.
Really?
When Thomas Cook founded his firm in 1841, his aim was to bring the opportunity of travel to a wider public. His son, John Mason Cook, developed the company further, opening up more adventurous, sophisticated tours abroad. By the time Sheila's grandfather was promoted to the role of agent, Managing both the Milan office and exclusive tours, Thomas Cook had an ultra-respectable profile.
I mean, if he was in Milan in the mid-1890s as our man in Milan, that was the period where tourism to the Italian lakes really sort of was expanded and took off. So, I mean, Milan was the base for all of these tours. George would have been right at the heart of all of this development.
I mean, have you any idea what type of man they would have employed in this position? I mean, obviously somebody who was a good salesman.
Yep. Well, honesty, integrity. Yeah. I mean, somebody must have seen potential in him to send him to Milan.
Sheila's on her way to Milan. It's her first visit to the city. She hopes to find out more about George and Emma's life there.
Just to find out what was going on in Milan at the time he was there might be quite interesting. Milan will have changed, obviously, but I'll get a feeling of what the city was that this young couple went to. I travel under two names. You'll see it's in Thor, but
Yes,
the ticket is probably booked in Hancock.
Hancock. It's quite forward, so it's nice.
Questo quella per me pari sono a cantare oltre d'intorno mi vedo del mio cuore l'impero non cedo meglio l'una che ad altra beltà.
My God, is it stylish. The people are so incredibly fashionably dressed. The shops are stunning. I love it.
Sheila's first stop is the British consulate to collect a copy of the registration of her father's birth. It should give the family's address.
Sheila, your fax has just come in through from Rome.
Oh, lovely. These presents are to certify that the child described as Enrico Cameron Hancock at number 39, Corso Vittorio Emanuele.
Corso Vittorio Emanuele.
Emanuela. Do you know where that is?
It's round the corner, very close to us.
Really?
Yes.
Hello, I'll have one.
Buongiorno, signora.
Buongiorno. Thank you. There we are. Way, lovely.
Grazie.
Thank you. There we are. Corso Vittorio Emanuele, or however you pronounce it. And this is the road where my dad was born. A lot of it's obviously been destroyed during the war and rebuilt, but there's the Duomo at the end of the road. What a fabulous view. And with all the original buildings, it must have been even more beautiful. Lovely.
Next stop is the Grand Hotel du Milan, where Sheila is meeting an expert on the history of Thomas Cook to find out more about her grandfather George's job as a Thomas Cook agent.
Sheila.
Hello.
I'm Piers Brendan.
Oh, I'm pleased to meet you.
Very, very nice to meet you, and particularly here, where your grandfather would have come to meet very important people to take them round Milan.
Really? When you say very important people, who do you mean?
Anyone from royalty downwards.
And what did you do? Take them on a sort of guided
Take
tour?
them, yes. Here I have it. Cook's Tourist's Handbook of Northern Italy, and here are the principal attractions.
That's lovely.
Brazilian Library, the Cathedral, of course, and La Scala.
Oh, I'm a guidebook fanatic. This is beautiful, and that dates from the time of my
absolutely
grandfather.
dates from that time.
By the 1890s, the Shah of Persia, the Viceroy of India, and many other distinguished people were travelling with Cooks. The tourist trail has changed little since then.
Listen to the guy singing.
Yes. There's the great Botticelli. And of course, your grandfather would have had to have known about painting, about ceramics, about furniture. His audience would have been well informed.
Oh, really?
So, yes, so he really would have had to have known.
Gosh.
This is what it was like when your grandfather was shown around. isn't it? Yes, so rich.
Oh, this is incredible. Oh, my goodness.
Cook's agents were almost kind of honorary consuls. They were part of an unofficial British civil service.
Would the wives have had a significant role to play in that?
Just as diplomatic wives do today, yes. This is La Scala.
Would the people that my granddad took around, would they have gone to the opera?
Oh, very much so. If they were important enough, he would have gone with them, all dressed up in his, his smart duds with his white tie and tails.
Do you think my grandma would have gone with him?
It was a sort of dual enterprise. So she too would have appeared in her glad rags.
Oh, I like the idea of that. My grandmother in a tiara or something, a white satin, going to the opera.
So it would have been a walkable city, and this is just about the centre of it. And I've got something very interesting to show you here, if you'd like to pause, Sheila, and that is the photograph of where your grandfather worked, just across the road there in his Thomas Cook office. It's a posh office, as you can see, incredibly centrally placed. The hotel down there, 100 yards down there, La Scala 100 yards up there.
You know, there's an extraordinary thing here. We went for a meal to a cafe last night down that road, and we walked past that shop, as it is now, and in the window was a little furry thing, and I said, that's a tippet, like my grandma used to wear, because she used to wear this kind of moth-eaten furry tippet when she lived with us in Bexley Heath, in that very shop. How very strange. I am surprised at the life that they had. It was glamorous. It was in the midst of a beautiful place, a very cultured place. My grandmother must have mixed with all sorts of people from royalty downwards. So the airs and graces weren't so assumed as we all, bless her, thought they were. The mystery for me now is, why did my grandmother end up in one room with my granny in Bexley Heath? Make some tea. Oh, yeah, this is from Thomas Cook. Dear Sheila, please find enclosed an extract from Thomas Cook's Staff magazine of April 1927, featuring the retirement announcement of Mr. G.T. Hancock. And that, presumably, is a picture of him in his wing collar and my chin. Well, it's nice. I also discovered George's name among the minutes of a company meeting of 1926, at which time it was decided to introduce a pension scheme for Thomas Cook employees. Sadly, then, George will not have benefited from this move. So he had no pension, which could account for the fact that Grandma Hancock had no money at the end. It saddens me, actually, all the things I've discovered. I remember Grandma Hancock as a rather weird old lady in a moth-eaten tippet. Didn't have a very good time, stuck in one room with Granny Woodward, whom she didn't like. And the fact that she, you know, sitting in that beautiful galleria in Milan and thinking that she lived that kind of life, the fact that she kept her end up and danced in the street and always looked nice, if a bit frayed, was very brave, I think.
Sheila's gathered the family for an update on what she's found out so far.
And here we have a photo.
Handsome fellow. He has got an enormous chin.
What's so right? Grandma Hancock's father was superintendent of a sewage pumping station.
Lovely.
So, and to begin with, I thought, oh dear, sewage. But thinking, no, seriously. Next, though, I've got this wretched picture which obsesses me. I mean, look at that face. You know, we looked at it before.
So no news of her yet?
I haven't discovered her yet, and that's going to be really difficult because all we've got is a name and a photo.
Sheila knows that the mysterious portrait is associated with the other side of her family. Her mother's family, the Woodwards. The Woodwards came from the Greenwich area of southeast London.
The more I look at this picture, the more extraordinary it is. There's sort of humour there, and it's wonderful. I'm getting to like it. I found it amongst my mother's belongings after she died. I was the one that had it framed, and it was a distant relation who told me she thought it was somebody called Madame Zurhorst. And that's about it, I'm afraid.
Sheila will start her hunt for Madame Zurhorst by looking into the background of Grandma Woodward, Louisa, to see if she can find any mention of the Zurhorst name. First stop, Greenwich Town Hall to get Grandma Woodward's marriage certificate.
I remember Grandma Woodward as a granny, that's all, you know, who lived in the same room as my other grandma, Grandma Hancock. She was very down-to-earth, had a Cockney accent, very solid little woman. Worked all the time. I just remember her working, washing, ironing. But I don't know anything about her early life before she came to live with us. Hello. Is that it?
There it is.
Thank you very much indeed. So here we have, on the 26th of December, 1887, the marriage of Alfred Walter Woodward and Louisa Elizabeth Allen. He was cutler. She has no profession, which seems highly unlikely. I'm sure that my Grandma Woodward, whom this is, would have worked in some way. Right, well, having got this, I imagine that one can look up the census. So let's see if we can find him. Here we are, Alfred W. Woodward, head of the family, cutler, that's right. So this is his wife, Louisa Elizabeth, dressmaker. I knew she'd be working. Violet H., daughter. Is that their daughter?
Yes.
Well, who's she? I don't know anything about her. And there's no mention of my mother, who was called Ivy. But there's somebody called Violet. Can we look on? So, this is 10 years later. Alfred is still the head of the house. Ivy, here she is. That's my mother. But what's happened to Violet? Violet's gone.
Possibly have died in that time.
Really? Oh dear, so they had a daughter who died before my mother was born.
The family address was in nearby Lewisham, so if Violet did die, Lewisham Registry Office should have her death certificate.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello. Violet Hetty Woodward, female, 17 months. Oh my God, whooping cough, pneumonia, convulsions. Oh. This is another baby. Oh, I can't bear it. Daisy Octavia Woodward died at 1 month. Twin of Violet. Both of them died. This was before my mother was born. Why was I never told about that? You know, I mean, I just thought of an old grandma, you know, who told me off a lot and was busy, but she was hiding huge grief. She had 3 children and only 1 survived. You know, because you don't get over something like that, do you? Losing 2 children. You don't. I mean, I have to say it moves me because it's the one thing that has most horrified me. I've had all sorts of things happen to me in my life, but the one thing I couldn't bear and haven't been able to bear because my grandchild was ill once is the illness or death of a child. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
Back in Greenwich, Sheila's search for the mysterious Madame Zurhorst continues. Grandma Woodward's marriage certificate gave her father's name as James Allen. Now Sheila wants to get his marriage certificate to find out his wife's name.
Okay, Grandma Woodward's father was called James Joseph Allen, and the wife was called, oh, good heavens, Louisa Octavia Zurhorst. There she is. There she is. The funny lady in the picture.
So Grandma Woodward's mother was called Louisa Zurhorst.
Now, hold on a minute. I'm having a moment of doubt here. It's just occurred to me that Louisa Octavia Zurhorst, who married my great-grandfather, wouldn't have been called Madam at that stage. She would have become Madam Allen or Mrs. Allen. But her father's wife, would have been Madame Zurhorst. And her father was, oh, good heavens, there's 4 names here. Hamnet, Pinky, is it Pinky? Yes, Pinky Octavius Zurhorst. So this splendidly named Hamnet Zurhorst would have had a wife called Madame Zurhorst.
To find out Hamnet's wife's name, Sheila's checking the census.
Gosh, there's a lot of Zurhorsts. So here we have his Hamnet, can't forget his name. His wife was called Louisa. I think this is Louisa in the picture.
Sheila now believes that her great-great-grandmother, Hamnet's wife, Louisa, is the Madame Zurhorst in the picture. Can the census tell Sheila anything about her life as Hamnet's wife?
Hamnet, he's an iron trimmer in ironworks. That sounds like manual labour. 1891 now, retired. Hold on, there's a lot of dittos here. They are living with a lot of other people by the looks of things. Pens, almshouses, some sort of charity.
Sheila's tracked down the Penn's almshouses in Greenwich, which were built as charity homes for impoverished people. She's arranged to meet Richard Hartree, who should be able to tell her more about the Zurhorst circumstances.
This is it. It's still here. Hello, I'm Sheila Hancock.
Richard Hartree.
Hello, pleased to meet you. Now, they tell me that you can tell me something about these almshouses.
Yes, I can, I think. I'm related to the Penn family. His father was my triple great-grandfather. So, well, they had quite an important business in Greenwich.
These are lovely.
Okay. Well, they were set up by his widow for people who worked for the firm.
Now, my great-great-grandfather lived here at the end of his life. And can we sit down here?
Sure.
I've got some census forms here. We have him as an iron trimmer.
He'd have worked in John Penn's factory, which is just a few hundred yards down the road.
But what exactly did the factory do?
Well, they were a major manufacturer of steam engines for boats.
So in order to stay here, you'd have had to work in this bloke's factory.
And not be able to live without coming here.
Really have to be absolutely without anything.
Yeah, you have to be pretty hard.
Destitute.
Yes.
Now let me show you this portrait.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've been trying to
It
trace...
might be this guy's wife.
I think it's this guy's wife.
Very striking eyebrows, hasn't
Isn't
she?
it?
Oh, God, have a look.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not remotely like me. It looks like a sort of fairly grand portrait. It doesn't seem to fit with a man who ends up destitute in an almshouse.
No, it doesn't. No. No, it doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
I'm dubious about this picture now. I think the only way one is going to get to the bottom of it is to find out the date of the portrait. If we could do that, then we could attach it to somebody who lived at that date.
Sheila's taking the portrait to Sotheby's, where costume expert Kerry Taylor should be able to date it.
I'll have that.
Extraordinary. She's quite a confection, isn't she? She's got very distinctive clothing. She has very large sleeves and this very frilly, flouncy hat and these extraordinary little ringlets here. And I would say that this is a portrait painted between 1830 and 1835 because before that and after that, you have a much more severe look. She looks as though she's holding something, might be a book. She's showing that she's a clever woman.
Really? Make a guess at how old do you think she was when that picture was taken?
She's got quite sunken eyes.
Yes.
She looks as though she's got sort of bags under her eyes, even wrinkles.
Yes. Well, I know that syndrome.
Can you see? I mean, she's got very dark hair, which suggests that she's maybe...
dyed it.
Dyed it. She could be sort of 40 or 50.
OK.
She looks to me as though she's a rich merchant's wife, something.
Really?
She looks like a lady who's saying, you know, here I am in my finery. This is someone of wealth.
Kerry dated the picture between 1830 and 1835. Hamnet was born in 1817, so he would only have been in his teens when the portrait was painted. Therefore, the portrait is unlikely to be of his wife, Louisa. It must be of his mother. Hamlet's marriage certificate gives his father as Frederick Zurhorst, but his mother isn't recorded. To find her name, Sheila can look for a record of Hamlet's birth. But because Hamlet was born before the introduction of birth certificates, she'll have to look on the International Genealogical Index, a website which brings together records of baptisms from many local churches. Back in Hammersmith, Sheila's asked her daughter Joanna to help search for Hamlet's mother's name.
You do it.
No, you do it. Come on, you're in front of him.
No, you're better at it than me. Go on, do. Zurhorst, shall I get a dictator? H-A-M-N-E-T-T.
N-E-T-T. No matches.
No.
No, we haven't got it.
Why don't we just put in Zurhorst and see what comes up?
God, there's loads.
Right, so we've got Alfred Robert, Alfonso Gustavus,
and Louisa.
And Louisa. That's a use. And Louisa is the family name that... Let's have a look at her. Right, here we are. Father...
Frederick William.
So, Louisa is the sister of Hamlet.
Yes.
And Judith is the mother's name, then. That's what we're looking for.
That's who we're looking for.
That's the woman in the portrait.
So Sheila's finally identified the mysterious woman in the portrait. She's her great-great-great-grandmother, Anne Judith Zurhorst. Can the website tell them any more?
This bloke, Alfonso Gustavius, as they seem to go into pretty odd names. Shall we have a look at him? There you are. He's a brother. Darling, if you have another baby, we've got a lovely selection of names for them.
So.
Alfonso, don't you like that? Alfonso Harvey.
Gustavus.
Augustus Derby, he might be worth a look. Yep.
Frederick William, there we go. Augustus.
Can't get over these names.
Edmund Hooper.
And Judith, mother.
There's a good one, surely.
Octavia Augusta. Frederick.
There we go.
That dates are so
Hang
close
around.
together.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
11.
18,
12. So you have one a year then. We know there are gaps on this website, and for instance, Hamlet's not there. 1817, he's not there. So there may be even more children than that. Good Lord.
She was a tough woman.
She was. Altogether, she's even more intriguing than I thought she was before. I know that her name is Anne Judith, which is quite a discovery. I know that she had lots of children. All have rather strange names. We know from Kerry at Sotheby's that she was a sort of nouveau riche lady, this flamboyance of the outfit and the curls and everything. We know that here she is holding a book as though to display the fact that she reads books. She's well read. So we know little things about her character. And Kerry's guess was that she might be a rich merchant's wife. Is it possible that there are some sort of records or whatever that her husband, Frederick, might appear in? I mean, you know, and by finding out about her husband, we might find out a bit more about her.
If Frederick was a merchant, his name would appear in trade directories found at the London Metropolitan Archive. Archivist Matthew Payne has been doing some research.
How exciting. WXYZ. And there he is. Zurhorst. Or is that F and S? That is an S.
F-looking letter is an S, yes.
Ship agent. Good Lord. The lady that looked, the costume of the lady that I'm in search of, reckoned that she was probably a merchant's wife, and she sounds as if she wasn't far off it.
She wasn't far off the mark.
That's brilliant. Is there any more?
1805.
Yeah, here we are. Zurhorst and Van Mark. So he's gone into partnership with somebody.
Yep, looks like it.
Any more?
The next is from 1814.
OK, let's see if he's still at it. Zurhorst. Oh, he's changed his partner. He's with somebody called Langveld. Langveld. My God. Insurer and shipping agent.
So he's broadening. So then we have the papers of him applying to become a broker.
A broker?
Specifically.
Is that a step up from what he was doing before?
Yes, a step up.
Between 1803 and 1819, the documents show Frederick Zurhorst's career progression in the shipping of goods to and from the Port of London. From a ship agent to insurance agent, then broker, and finally a customs house agent, paying import taxes on behalf of merchants. One of the documents also reveals details of his family background.
Frederick William Zurhorst is the son of Herman Zurhorst, a native of Rotterdam who came to... Is that Ireland?
It is, yeah.
Waterford. His father's name was Herman. He came from Rotterdam. They went to Ireland, to Waterford.
Yes.
That's his father, is it?
Yes.
Herman Zurhorst. That is really extraordinary, because that is my great-great-great-great-grandfather's signature.
Wonderful.
He actually dipped a pen in an inkwell and wrote that name. Quite extraordinary, quite extraordinary. I mean, it really brings you back into a sort of tactile connection.
And then we see him in the final trade directory.
Oh, really? Here we are. Oh, what on earth is this? There's two Zurhorsts now. One is AJ. Where's he popped up from? And he's ready-made linen warehouse equipment for the East and West Indies. AJ. No, this... With all the sexism I've come across in these archives before, it can't possibly be. But his wife's name was Anne Judith. She couldn't have been operating in a business, could she?
She could be.
Really? Mm. Good on her. That's amazing. What date was this? So she paid for her frock herself. I must just show you the picture of this woman, because you'll see why I'm excited by it.
Oh, wow.
See?
Yes.
I mean, she's quite a woman, and you can. I mean, one has been trying to fathom her out. She doesn't look like a docile, stay-at-home wife, does she?
No, she doesn't.
I mean, she looks as though she could organise and run a business. So she said, "Oi, you've got a spare room in your office. I'm going to set up a ready-made linen merchant warehouse." That is, that's really taken my breath away, and I really like that idea, and I hope it's true.
So Frederick and Anne Judith Zurhorst lived and worked in the City of London in the early 1800s. At that time, London had the world's largest port. Life revolved around the river. The Thames was packed with goods coming in and going out to the expanding British Empire. In the city, commerce was king. While other European centres like Paris and Amsterdam had suffered war and revolution, London had been relatively peaceful. And that peace allowed business to thrive. Foreign merchants and bankers had fled to London, bringing their money and know-how with them. The society Frederick Zurhorst was part of was buzzing with creative entrepreneurs. Sheila's come to the city to meet historian Helen Clifford, who can tell her more about Frederick and Anne Judith's world.
This is the Rhinebeck panorama. It shows London as it was in 1809.
But how wonderful to see the river so busy compared with what it is nowadays.
I mean, this is the customs house here, which is obviously an epicentre of activity.
Well, he was a custom house agent at one point. Well, so would he have worked there?
He would have worked here.
So his jobs, he goes from being a ship agent to being a ship and insurance agent, and then he's a broker.
Right. He would have been responsible for dealing directly with merchants as a middleman. He would have overseen all the goods being loaded onto a ship, finding a good ship, finding a good captain, a reliable one, that was going to the right place at the right time. When ships arrived, he would have had to have gone to the customs house here to pay the duties which were due on the goods that had come in. There'd be mahogany, there'd be rum, sugar, molasses. You know, people were paid, backhand to get me to the top of the queue. Which duties do I have to pay? All that sort of thing. So it's a very, very responsible job. And if you're in this business, you're really right, as I say, at the right place at the right time. It's really exciting.
Sheila has an address for the Zurhorsts in the heart of the city, at number 1 Idle Lane.
This bit here, with the church there and the 18th century house there, is exactly as it would have been
in Zurhorst's time. Originally, where Zurhorst would have lived at number 1, it would have been just the same. At the basement, they would have had the kitchens. At this level here, you'd have had the business area where Zurhorst would have entertained his business associates, the merchants, the captains of the ships and business. The next level up would have been like a sort of parlour area, perhaps where Mrs. Zurhorst would have entertained and would have had the family.
She would have entertained?
Absolutely. It was all about showing sort of the status of the family.
So it was a good address, was it?
Yes. I mean, especially for what he was doing.
Lovely.
He's right in the centre of it.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's a super location.
It's a good life, isn't it? Now, we found in one of the later trade books things, there was an A.J. Zurhorst who was running a company in the same building as her husband. Now, here she is. I'll show you her, this formidable lady.
Wow.
Is it possible that a woman would have had a business?
You sometimes find their names on receipts and invoices, on controlling the credit, things like that, but it's very rare. It's difficult to get at the evidence. Okay. But I think it's a fair speculation, and she certainly looks a capable woman.
Yeah.
And quite likely, I think.
I had no idea there were city connections. I mean, what is wonderful is that it's reinforcing why I feel so essentially a Londoner. I love this city and I love this river. The feeling of the power of this river runs through the story. and my relatives have lived on or near the river, and I've ended up living on the river. And I just find the whole story lively and exciting, and the splendid woman in the picture. I now begin to see the sense of this rather kind of strong and different-looking woman. There was something about her. She had her own business, which is amazing at that period, and hugely praiseworthy, and I'm very proud of her.
In 1820, Frederick and Anne Judith Zurhorst disappear from the trade directories. What happened to them after that?
Well, I didn't sleep a wink last night. I mean, there was so much information to assimilate, and I'm afraid it still begs questions. Now, what I've done, of my own initiative, was put Zurhorst in my search engine, and I came up with a sort of chat thing where people find out about their ancestors. And what I'm going to do now, if I may, is to put in a message and see if anybody out there comes up with something. It's out there in the ether.
The next day, Sheila receives a response to her message.
You have email.
Well, this is the most amazing letter from a Charles Zurhorst who lives in America, whose family history overlaps with mine, and he's discovered a huge amount about the family. In 1800, Frederick William, who's our guy, moved to London, where on October the 12th, 1801, he married Anne Judith Williams. So we now know her maiden name, it was Williams. And on July the 8th, 1822, they had a son whom they called Charles Frederick Zurhorst. We'd not met him before. Goodness knows, she must have been constantly pregnant, judging by this. Then, interestingly, they moved to Guernsey. So heaven knows what they were doing in Guernsey.
The email didn't give any details of Anne Judith and her family's life in Guernsey. So Sheila's come here to St. Peter Port to check the local records and see if she can find out more. Librarian Amanda Bennett has been doing some research for her.
We did actually find the Zurhorsts on the 1841 census, and here they are here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them living in St. Peter Port. At the top we have Anne Zurhorst. Interestingly, she's listed first in the household, which is normally the place reserved for the head of household.
Why would that be, then?
I have no idea. It's quite interesting because I've not seen it done on a census like this before.
I guess she was just pushy when the censor came round.
She's 59 years old, and this is IND, which stands for independent, so she had an independent income. Underneath is Agnes Zurhorst, who presumably is a daughter.
We keep turning up children.
Right.
I mean, I have no idea how many she had in the end.
Eliza underneath is 18, and underneath here is Charles,
who was 60.
She would have been 43 when she had Charles.
That's incredible.
She seemed to have been having children for a very long time.
I was 42 when I had my last one.
And underneath here, it looks like a shortened version of Frederick. So he's listed last in the household.
Oh, my goodness. Is there any indication as to why they would have come here?
Well, believe it or not, it was, it's known as a tax haven today, although that's not strictly true. In 1841, it was a tax haven.
You're joking, really?
Yes. In the 1841 census, you find a lot of English names, people who were born in London, from the mercantile areas.
So they would have all talked amongst themselves in London and said, that's a good place to go when you pack it in.
I'm sure they had a little community in Guernsey as well. If we jump 10 years forward in time to the 1851 census, we found them again. This is after the death of Anne Judith Williams.
And so can we locate when she died? She died between 1841 and 1851, but we don't know exactly when she died.
The census shows that the Zurhorsts were living at number 4 Mount Row.
That's very nice, isn't it? Very nice. And sadly, this is where Anne Judith died.
It is where she died, and I have actually found her burial record.
Really?
And I've got it with me here. She died in 1850.
So, Anne Judith Williams, femme de Frederick William Zurhorst. So it's in French. Wife of Frederick William Zurhorst of de Montereau. Enterrée?
That's right.
The 29th of October, 1850, aged 68 years.
Yes.
I wonder where she was enterrée.
Well, these are the records of the parish church of St Andrews, which is the parish just beyond the end of this road.
Sacred to the memory of Anne Judith Zurhorst. Aged 68 years. Also Frederick William Zurhorst. In the 80th year of his age. So he lived a long time after she died. And there she is. I'm snivelling. Gosh, it's been a long journey. But it's a lovely, lovely, quiet place to be. I do actually feel as though I know her now. I have the feeling she was extraordinary. She was as extraordinary as the portrait led us to believe. I feel she enjoyed life. I feel she lived life to the full. Those sort of lively eyes, as though she was greedy for life. Extraordinary. I've been surprised all the way along. As you know, at the beginning, I honestly knew lamentably little. I didn't even know my grandfather's Christian names. I now feel I know everything. My mind is peopled with ancestors, but I filled in a picture of these people that is so vivid. When I was sort of trying to get little bits of evidence to start the research, I did feel a terrible empty space behind. I realised that I was on not very firm ground. It was, the here and now is fine, but where did I come from? And I think I do. I mean, it's early days to say that, but I do feel a bit more, not confident, but I feel I've got firmer foundations now. That I know that all these things have fed into me and my children and my grandchildren. There's a wonderful sense of history there. And it's a good feeling, I think. So much about modern life is kind of unstable and shifting that it's quite nice to know that there was something building up to this moment when you're here.